Happy Flag Day in Panama. The update for the Panama protests, were at day 13 of the protests, and because it's such a holiday here, there are reduced protests throughout the city from what we're hearing, and also across the country. So I got a lot of responses from the last video that I made, and thank you very much for all your comments. The key points that came out from the comments from the last video: one commenter said that there is no chemical issue leaching into the groundwater. However, I haven't found any information to either prove that chemicals are leaking into the water or disprove the chemicals are leaking in the water. The other issue that came up was that the mine was not taking water from the Panama Canal. That part, once again, is difficult to prove that the mine is taking water from the Panama Canal or not. There was a quote saying that because the ecosystem is all connected, from the mountains and what have you going to the groundwater that went to the rivers, that it would be conflicting for resources. However, at this stage of the game, there's been no scientific proof that I've found to prove or disprove that the mine is taking water from the Panama Canal. When we look at Panama's GDP breakdown, gross domestic product, the Panama Canal creates 80% of the GDP for Panama. The Colcon Free Zone creates 8.5% of the GDP of Panama. The Colcon Free Zone wouldn't be there without the Panama Canal, because all these goods and services are coming in. Then you've got the copper mine. Now, based upon where you look at it, it produces 3.5 to 5% of the GDP. The Panama Canal is 80%, plus the Colcon Free Trading Zone is 8.5%, which relies on the Panama Canal. You've got 90% of the GDP is basically brought in from the Panama Canal. Copper mine's at 3.5%. It takes in a small fragment of the GDP. Government wants to expand that, and of course expansion means opening up more mines to expand their operations. What really came up from my research into this problem regarding the protests and why people are so unhappy was Law 406. On October 20th, 2022, the National Assembly in Panama approved Bill 1100, being the proposal for the approval of the concession contract for Cobra Panama mine. And then this went into Law 406. And this revises the contract, establishes the basis for a renewed long-term relationship between Panama and First Quantum. I believe it's a 20-year contract with another 20-year chance of renewal, so that's a 40-year contract. And they created a new law to sign this contract, so there's something in this law that allows the company to mine either in a zone inside Panama or wherever they want in Panama. So this hasn't been clear. So that's Law 406. Panama is a small country, and I think that the argument is that it's such a small country that they shouldn't be chewing up their lands and possibly polluting their water, which is a contentious issue. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. So I think that that's what the protesters are upset about. Small country and possibly destroying their land for short-term gain. So the Panaman people are protesting not for today, but for their children of tomorrow. What will they be leaving their children of tomorrow if they were to spend the next 40 years mining and altering the geography in these open pit mines? If the protesters win, fear is, from some people, is what message does this send to the rest of the world regarding working in Panama? If they negate on the contract that's been signed, what happens if this doesn't go through? Will it create problems for international businesses coming to Panama in the future? Protests seem to be about the same. During the holidays they've come down from what I've heard, so the protesting has dropped. Who knows if that's going to ramp up. Rumors that they might start blocking off roads to the airport. That hasn't been confirmed. There's gas shortages in Bocas del Toros as well as with San Blas, but as of right now, maybe they have a humanitarian corridor come through, so they are possibly getting some fuel. I know there's a black market happening, so you can still get fuel on the black market at, of course, increased prices. As for when there's an end to this, we don't know. It still has to go to the Supreme Court, I believe, and from what I've heard from commenters and from people and from the research that I've done, it suggests that it will just go through anyways. There's the Supreme Court saying that this is unconstitutional from what I've heard. I don't agree with that or disagree with that. That's just the way it is, just trying to be an observer here. So hopefully something will come about it that will be mutually beneficial for everyone in Panama, but right now we don't know. And then there's a referendum on December 17th, and I'm not exactly sure what that referendum is about, but I know it's about the mine, and I'm not sure what exactly that will entail. As for advising people to come to Panama or not to come to Panama, same advice that I gave before. You know the situation here. So far, we have not come to a conclusion. There's no resolution. The protests are still happening. There's still food shortages and supply issues and road closures to pretty much everywhere in the country. Panama City is still well stocked from what I hear. Fresh vegetables may be coming through. So is there any end in sight for these protests? I don't know. Nobody has a crystal ball. That's the update. Day 13 of Panama protests. Wishing you all a happy Flag Day. Signing off for now.